What it do, Crispy Crew? Welcome back to another video. And yeah, I'm going back into my commentary bag. I don't have a microphone, so I'll be using the water bottle. So a lot of things that a lot of people are forgetting about is that I read manga a lot. And recently, me and a couple of friends did this little manga Secret Santa, right? So you would expect that we would be, giving each other manga that we would probably actually like, things that, things that are like generally good shit to read. No, not at all. Not at all. That did not happen whatsoever. I was actually given one of the worst pieces of fiction that I have ever read in my life. And it wasn't necessarily because it was like written bad. Well, it was written bad, but that wasn't the main reason why. Let me tell you about a little manga called The Flowers of Evil. Flowers of Evil is a story that follows this little perverted kid named Kasuga. He was a really weirdo. He liked books a lot. But that's really only an important detail that ends up becoming important a bit later if you actually decide to read this dog shit story. What he did is he stole the underwear of his crush's locker room. Like, he went in their locker room and he like stole their underwear. One of the people seen him do it. Now, the person who seen him do it was this it's like this random weirdo in the classroom. Nobody really liked them. They were kind of a social reject, and we come to find out for pretty good reason. They were definitely kind of weird, because what happened was after is that she low-key blackmailed them. She was like, look, if you decide to try to return these in any way, I'm just gonna tell everyone that you did it and things of that nature, and basically just said, you're basically got to do whatever I say now as a fellow pervert, essentially, is what she was doing. And she basically made a contract with the nigga. That's what she described it as a contract. Already a weird fucking start, because if I remember correctly, this happened within the first chapter, maybe even the first 2 chapters. Regardless, crazy ass start. But unfortunately, it's only the tip of this iceberg. Something that you should probably know about this mangaka is that he's known for writing stories that are just generally weird as fuck. There was another story he written, I think it was called like Blood on the Tracks or something of that nature. Generally I only read the first volume, still a very weird story. I don't know what he was trying to get after when writing that shit. I believe his name was, hold on, let me look at it. Shuzo Oshimi. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. I'm pretty sure I didn't butcher that. I've been doing better on my Japanese reading names, you know what I'm saying? They end up doing a plethora of really weird things. She ends up like sexually assaulting him many times throughout this process. She ends up making him go on a date with his crush that he stole the underwear from, mind you, while wearing her underwear under his clothes, and then dumped water on him. Like, it's just really weird, and it doesn't really actually accomplish anything. This story is just shock value. The problem is that I'm also gonna get into major spoilers, so if you actually plan on reading this series for some reason, just be sure to click off the video. She has used her suicidal tendencies to basically influence most of her actions and basically make her be a destructive person who is trying to not only hurt herself, but hurt those around her. That's exactly what she was doing. And I guess she decided to do so in a sexual manner, which is weird to say the least. And I don't understand why the author still went with this choice anyway. It genuinely does not make sense. It doesn't accomplish anything for the story. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is generally one of the worst stories I've ever read in my life. Like, it's actually horrible. There's many times where, there was a very important part of the story where one time it ends up getting out that he stole the underwear from his crush. His crush finds out about this and she forgives him. That's the main problem I have, is why does she forgive him? Because what is the author trying to say, genuinely? It doesn't make sense. No, in real life, nobody's forgiving you for doing some shit like that, bro. And on top of that, she's jealous because the person that he made the contract with, what's her name? Nakamura. I think, yeah, Nakamura. That's the person he made the contract with. Her ass, she's getting jealous of Nakamura because for some reason she thinks they got something going on, or they got a little bit of a relationship going. When I'm just like, bro, reading this in real time, I'm like, bro, this has to be satire. This entire story has to be satire, bro. There's no other way. Actually, it gets to a point where they do a suicide pact, and if I'm being honest, I'm kind of skipping through a lot of the story because I don't want to go into detail of the crazy shit that they do. They end up stealing all of the underwear of the girls in class. They end up they just do weird shit. This is weird shit. This is not okay, and I don't understand why the author keeps writing this. Like, as I'm going, I'm trying to figure out why the fuck is he writing this? It doesn't make sense. There's no message. It's like, because a lot of folks who read his previous stories would say, oh, he is an artist who makes quite a lot of stories with a central message. From my knowledge, this was his first story. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say there was a message he was trying to show here. There's a couple of questions that I have to bring up to him. 1, why are these characters middle schoolers? 2, what message are you trying to bring? And 3, does it really require the extreme amount of sexual assault that you've written with these middle schoolers? That's like what's going on in your brain that's making this think, yeah, this is gonna end up getting the crowd riled up. This is gonna show a message to the world. He didn't expect most of his stories to make it out of Japan. So I'm just like, what were you trying to tell to your country, brother? I don't get it. But moving forward, there's a time skip after they did a suicide pact. The suicide pact failed because they ended up trying to do it in the festival with a lot of people in front of them, and it just didn't work out because the cops shut that shit down immediately. They was not having it. But after that, they just never seen each other. Eventually, the main character, Kasuga, he ends up going to high school in an entirely different town, made a completely new name, but he's still feeling guilty and still thinking about the people that he loved in those areas. Because I'm going to tell you right now, he's actually developed love for these people, which is weird. For the Nakamura girl that he made a suicide pact with, that's the only reason he even went through it, is because he found love with her, which is so weird. I don't get it. I really don't. But either way, we're going forward. Mario in this high school, he meets a new girl who reminds him of old girl from back then from Nakamura. I don't remember her name, I'm gonna be real with you, because after I read this story, I decided I'm not going to sit here and even try to put any energy into remembering a lot of this stuff. But then I remembered I should make a video out about it, because if I had to suffer reading those 57 chapters, I feel like that everyone should know what to avoid when someone tries to give them a manga, at the very least. Don't do it. Hip-hop, I'm getting old. Powers of Evil is just not a good story. And at this point in the story, he goes to high school and tries to do a blank slate, but then he realizes that he can't keep running from it. He goes back in his grandfather's funeral and realizes how his actions affected the entire community. Because mind you, once the town found out that he stole them underwear, everyone was on his ass. They didn't like him. It was only his weird girlfriend at the time, not Nakamura, the other girl that was jealous of her. I forgot her name. What was her name? Nanako. For some reason, Nanako's ass was the only one who gave him. When even, I feel like she should have been the only person who shouldn't have forgave him. His parents was pissed. That's why they moved him out of the town in the first place. They were trying to get away from all that. We're in this new town, let's start fresh, things of that nature. In the story, it actually shows that he's trying to become a better person in some shape or form. He ends up taking a girl away from her nigga. That's kind of the only redeeming quality in terms of like, I'm that nigga type mentality that this character has in this entire story, is that he goes up to his girl, he realizes she has a boyfriend, and he tries to repress himself because he doesn't want to repeat the perverted mistakes he did in the past. but then eventually he said he just confessed to her, and then she left her nigga on the spot just to get with him. Dang, that's not how life works, and I don't understand why you wrote the story like that. Like, yeah, life works like, I mean, okay, I can't sit here and cap. This is gonna be a little bit of a tangent. Life can work like that. I've seen scenarios where girls would leave you to go either fuck with their ex, or fuck with a nigga who's just doing it better, or fuck with a nigga who can fuck her better, or fuck with a nigga who got more money, things of that nature. In this specific scenario, none of those shits was true. They never had sex. This nigga don't get no money. All he knows is that she likes to read books and he likes to read books. And on top of that, she was writing a novel and he was supporting it. That was it. And he was the only person who knew about the novel. That was it. So I'm just like, bro, this is not how life works. Like, it's just generally horrible shit that's going on right now. What the fuck am I reading? Main question that I was asking myself the entire time I was reading this was, what the fuck am I reading, bro? Ended up going back to town for his grandfather's funeral. After that, he ended up encountering one of Nanako's friends. Nanako's friends never liked this nigga because he was a perverted weirdo. And before they even figured out about that, they never liked him because he was a shy, weird kid who read books all the time and would sometimes hurt Nanako's feelings when they were still dating and nobody figured out about the shit. So they never liked him. But in this case, she didn't reach out to him, but she ended up seeing if he was still in the area, figuring out that his grandfather died. Once they reconnected, he realized that old girl knew where Nakamura was. So now let me give you a little bit of context. After the suicide pact, everyone split ways. Kasuga, the main character, he went to this other city. Nanako, she went to another city. Nanako's friend, she stayed there, but Nakamura, she went somewhere else, but nobody knew where she went except for Nakamura. Except for Nanako's friend. I don't remember Nanako's friend's name. They said that she overheard some old ladies talking about it. Either way, that's what happened. So she ends up telling that information to Kasuga, and guess what his ass does? He brings his new girlfriend over to where she now lives with her mom, because at first she was living with her pops because they were divorced in the story. And then they just rekindle and just wash it, and like everything just washes away, I guess. And they actually start fighting each other, which is weird, like actually brawling. It's weird. And I'm just like, what is this accomplishing? And then they were just smiling at the end and just laughing. And then this time skip. And then this nigga's living happily ever after with a baby with his new girlfriend that's now his wife, who's getting a world-renowned book. He's in college now while she's doing that, by the way. So it's just like, what is going on here? Understand the central message. There is no central message. You can't convince me there's a central message. If the central message is what I'm thinking it is, it's that weirdo sexual niggas can forgive themselves and still live a happy life. Which people will be like, oh, but Dev, he was in middle school, bro. You can't be too hard on him. Were you in middle school over here taking girls' underwear, bro? Like stealing this shit? Were you over there doing that? Because mind you, it wasn't just a one-time offense. The nigga did it multiple times. So it's like you know what you're doing wrong, bro. So I just don't get it. And in high school, he's like beating himself up about it. So it's like, you knew what you were doing wrong the entire time. You just didn't care. You were just a horny, sick bastard. That's what he was. So it's just like, there's no excuse, bro. I don't get it. I really don't understand what the author was trying to say. Maybe the author was trying to make a point about his friend Nakamura. Maybe that's what it was, about how her mental health and how we should probably not be neglecting that. Maybe. But even then, that's not how you tell a story at all. It doesn't make sense. In conclusion, I give this manga a 1 out of 10. Easily the worst piece of fiction I've read in a very long time. And that's saying a lot, because I've watched Star Wars. What I'll say to that is, y'all be sure to go ahead and follow me on Twitch. Y'all be sure to subscribe down below. And y'all be sure to have a good day. I don't really know what else to say about that. This series was so horrible, and I'm gonna be real with you. There's not a single bone in my body that would recommend this to anybody. And to the person who recommended me this video, if you're watching this, I don't even gotta say nothing because I already said it to you in person. I don't like how you did this to me. This was a very horrible experience, and I hope you know that. You probably do know that. But that being said, good night. You have a good one. I say good night. It's only fucking 8:21 a.m. It's 8:21. But by the time this video releases, it's probably going to be like nighttime. So good night.